Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, the Texans have made 2 moves in NFL free agency. We'll break that down on today's show. Also, Tank Dell, he's talking Super Bowl. We're talking playoffs. We're talking playoffs? Playoffs? I'll get into what he had to say in today's show, and did a little bit of deep diving, some analysis, and I have the keys to Texan success on the offensive side of the football via some advanced stats that I looked into this weekend. So all that on today's show, but I am still on the road to 15K. Need 52 more subscribers to get there. I promised my bosses that I would have it by the end of the month. Hell, I want to have it by the end of the week. So if you're not subscribed already, we break down the latest Texans news, rumors, and more all on this channel. So it's 100% free. Go down and hit that sub button to get Texans content all year long. Now, the first signing actually just happened right before we started filming this segment. Quintez Cehpus, wide receiver, last played in 2022, 2 receptions, 15 yards for the Lions. And I'm just going to be frank, nothing against Cehpus. I don't see any way that he makes the final 53-man roster. I think this is just another camp body, another person to run routes for whoever the Texans' 3rd, 4th, 5th quarterback is, the practice squad guys. He's not going to be making the roster. So Quintez Cehpus, I'm sorry, there's just way too much going on in this wide receiver room for him to even be considered to get a roster spot. The other guy, though, still not probably likely to make the roster, but I think a little bit more likely than Quintez Cehpus. The Texans went out and signed a UFL player from the DC Defenders, the Washington DC Defenders, and Malik Fisher last year had 33 tackles, 7 sacks in the UFL. That was enough for 2nd best in the league. And this kind of just adds more depth. We saw the Texans go ahead and re-sign Jerry Hughes last week, and then they add another guy to this Texans defensive line depth chart. Now, I just think the Texans, they're worried a little bit about that, depth along the defensive interior, along the defensive line as well. So I think they are continuing to add during training camp, get more bodies in there, and just see how many guys they can evaluate to get to this final 53-man roster. I still think Derek Barnett is going to end up making this team, but Dylan Horton, other guys along the defensive line, other, edge rushers, Solomon Byrd, a late-round pick that the Texans had this year, they're definitely on the bubble, and there's going to be a big camp competition on who is that 4th, 5th defensive end for this Texans team. I think Jerry Hughes probably also makes it. So I'm wondering about who they end up keeping on this Texans final 53-man roster. My question to you is, do you feel confident in the Texans defensive line depth? Take away the starters. Take away Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, Danico Autry, Foley Fatukasi. The next guy's up. Do you feel any confidence in those guys at all? Let me know in the comment section, yes or no. This is going to be the pinned comment. The YouTube ad break plays right here. Perfect timing. Just go down and answer today's pinned question. Do you feel confident in the Texans defensive line? Next up, eyes on the prize. Tank Dell talked with Chancellor Johnson ahead of training camp, and he had some interesting quotes from his meetup with the KPRC Local 2 news reporter, and this is what he had to say to him on being better this year. He said, I know it's going to be better for sure. I feel like I'm going to have a way better year, just like knowing the playbook and coming in, knowing how camp goes, knowing how to take care of my body day in and day out, before practice and after practice. And I'm just saying this right now, year 2 Tank is going to move mountains for this team. He was absolutely electric for the first half of his rookie season before he got injured in that Broncos game. 47 receptions, over 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. His connection with CJ Stroud is something special. So I can't wait to see Tank Dell back on the field, and I can't wait to see how much better he's going to be in year 2 than his rookie season. And he's not only talking about himself, he was talking about the team and their mindset with all the new additions this offseason. Pretty lofty expectations. This is what he had to say. Everybody's excited. We all know where we want to be. We all know the end goal, a Super Bowl. And I mean, This young core has just completely revitalized, rejuvenated this whole entire team, this fan base, this entire city. They brought a winning attitude to this team that was not there the past 3-4 seasons after J.J. Watt left, and I absolutely love it. Everything that these young guys have done for this squad, the tenacity they bring day in and day out, Tank Dell, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, Nico Collins, and of course, C.J. Stroud, all of them have brought a winning culture to this team, and I am so thankful that the Texans have such a promising young good core to really move them forward in the NFL for seasons to come. Hey, and I'm going to be watching them all year long. We're going to be doing more Texans watch parties, more Texans live shows during the regular season. So if you're going to join me for those Texans watch parties, if you're ready to root on your Houston Texans, go ahead and type me down in the comment section and make sure you're subscribed if you want to join me for those live watch parties. I'm telling you, it's the most fun on game day. It's a, tailgate-like atmosphere. We're having fun. We're drinking some beers. We're having deals. So join us for all of the fun throughout the year and go down and hit that sub button. Last up on today's program, some keys to the Texans offense. I actually, one of my coworkers, he bought this book from Warren Sharp, Football Analysis 2024 Football Preview, and it's absolutely amazing the amount of stuff that's in there, the advanced stats, the advanced analytics that really break down how the Texans performed in 2023 and how they could look going into next season. And the most interesting part I thought was about the Texans offense and around Bobby Slowik and C.J. Stroud. First off, the keys to this offense, and this is probably a duh, Jeremy. Yes, of course you have to protect C.J. Stroud better, but the splits between him with no pressure and with pressure is, outstanding. Number 2 in the league in EPA per attempt. That's expected points added per attempt plus 0.42. That was number 2 in the league. Number 7 in success rate at 55%. This is all with no pressure. C.J. Stroud was number 7 out of all quarterbacks in the league. And yards per attempt, 9.3. That's good for number 3 in the league. Now, with pressure, expected points added per attempt, 27th in the league whenever he was pressured. Number 35 out of all quarterbacks. That means not even top 32, not even top starters. He was 35th in success rate when being pressured and number 30 in yards per attempt at 5.4. Obviously, C.J. Stroud, whenever he has a clean pocket, he is able to slice and dice defenses all day long. But that's the key. We have to be able to protect him, and that's why we've been talking about the offensive line and most notably the center and left guard spot for almost the entire offseason, because it is paramount that the Texans really focus in on protecting C.J. Stroud and giving him a clean pocket this year. Also, the next thing that they talked about in this book, the Texans need to throw them more to start the game. Last year, the Texans passed the ball on only 50% or 52% of plays in the first half of games. That was 27th in the league. And we look back to that Week 18 game against the Indianapolis Colts, 15 runs and 10 passes in the first half of that game. And one of those passes was a electric 75-yard touchdown to Nico Collins. So you're saying for the rest of the first half, they only passed the ball 9 more times? Yeah, that can't happen if you're going to win games going into next season. You have to be able to air the ball out more. Even though you should have a better run game with Joe Mixon this season, I think we have to let C.J. Stroud air it out just a little bit more, especially to start games going into next season. And the last key to this offense is we have to let Stroud audible more. Year 2, obviously, for a rookie to be able to audible and, change the play at the line of scrimmage, that's a lot asking of a rookie in the NFL. But going into year 2, I'm hoping that he gets a little bit more command of the offense. This is what Warren Sharp had to say on this Texans 2023 offense. If Slowik's goal was to run a lot for nothing into loaded boxes at a high rate just to put his QB in tough spots on third down, well, he accomplished it. Because the Texans ran the ball at the 6th highest rate. And the Texans saw the 5th highest rate of loaded boxes on those early downs. This was the Texans running back advanced stats in 2023. Number 28 in the league in success rate at 29%. Number 27 in yards per rush at 3.8. And number 22 in expected points added per rush in negative 0.15. If you're running the ball and these are your stats, what are we doing? Why are we even running the ball at that point? We need to air it out more. We need to change it up because the run game is not working. But In the other side of it, the flip side of it, these are Stroud stats on passing on early down. So first or second down. Number 2 in expected points added per attempt at plus 0.19. Number 2 in yards per attempt. And number 7 in success rate, all on passing in early downs. So we really need Stroud to step up this season. This is the next step we need to see in CJ Stroud. He needs to be able to evaluate the defense, really pick apart what they're going to be doing before the play at the line of scrimmage, and be able to check out of these run plays, check out of these plays that he knows aren't going to work. CJ Stroud, he has it up here. He has the ability to do it. I know he's been talking a lot to Tom Brady, guys like Peyton Manning. Those guys were able to really elevate their game, become one of the best in the entire NFL, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, both of those guys, because of what they did pre-snap. And we really need to see that from CJ Stroud going into next year. If the Texans, if they want to be Super Bowl contenders, if they want to be the top team in the AFC, that's the next step that you need out of your quarterback to accomplish those goals. So that's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can always do so at Jeremy Chuggs. My DMs are always open. And make sure you made it to the end of the video. Go down and hit that sub button for daily Texans videos all year long.